Hey everyone, how are you doing today? You know, for some of you, you might have been affected by the pandemic. Maybe you lost your job. And if you weren't affected by it, I'm sure that you know probably 10 people that have. I know personally, I know 4 people that lost their jobs starting in May. And a few of those friends of mine, they're never going to go back to that industry that they loved. Why? Because it's changed so much. Think about the restaurant industry. How many restaurants have closed? I know 4 of my favorite restaurants here in San Diego have closed, one of them being Dublin Square downtown. So upset over that one. The hospitality industry has changed. They're downsizing. So many hotels are probably going to shut or close down some of their locations. The theme park industry, they've changed and they've downsized. What I'm saying is that even if you loved your job before the pandemic, you might not love that industry anymore. And you might be thinking to yourself, there's got to be something different for me. You're maybe thinking that now is the time to pivot and take control of your career. If that's you, I want you to stay right here because this is the October Opportunity Summit. And we have an amazing lineup of guests. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Fain Brandt, the co-host and producer of the Wow Women Summit. And our host is Holly Woods Gray. I'm going to bring her on in just a moment. But first, maybe you're not looking for a job, but you know someone who is. You know someone who really wants to create a career. Go ahead and hit that share button and let's broadcast this out and get this message out to as many people as we can today. Because really, this is an opportunity for just about everyone. New job seekers, veteran job seekers, midlife job seekers, female, male, it doesn't matter. We have something for everyone and we want to share this opportunity with you. So let's go ahead and let's bring Holly onto the show. Hey, Holly.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. It's a little hot. You know, I know we're in San Diego. Everyone thinks that like, oh, San Diego has perfect weather. It does 80% of the year, but this summer has been brutal.
Absolutely. I heard it's super hot in Texas right now, too. So for those of you that are out there in Texas and other places of the nation, I know you're not getting the fall that you wish you had. You're getting more of this hot weather. But, you know, California, we're known for having hot weather in October.
Yeah, we are. October is actually a lovely month here, but it is a little warm for me right now. Just, you know, it's all good. It's all good. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty excellent. I'm here in San Diego myself. And yes, it is hot. I was out in El Cajon, California earlier today. I went to go see my hairdresser.
Looks
so I'm all fresh. Ladies, I'm all fresh.
Doesn't it feel great? Like just having a haircut and having it styled. I felt like a new person when I got mine done. It'd been 4 months.
Yes, absolutely.
Mine was looking pretty tacky there. So I want to tell the audience why we're doing this. Like Holly, we've known each other like 4 years now. I think it's been 4 years, 4 or 5 years. We met at a networking event. Again, great relationships happen by just, you know, going up to someone and saying hi. And then we started working together on various projects. And we've always kind of kept in touch. I've always admired Holly and the work that she's done and her background and how she had to pivot, right? And her husband pivoted with her eventually. Like, I love the whole, I love your story, Holly. And so I would love for you to share with the audience a little bit about you and why we're doing these summits.
Great. Yeah. Thanks so much. Well, first of all, you know, you meet somebody at a networking event and then you never know exactly what kind of relationship you're going to have with them. I mean, Mary was, doing something different than she's doing now. When I first met her, she was still doing LinkedIn. She's still the, bite-sized bits, the bite-sized baker for LinkedIn. And she helped me with my LinkedIn profile, but it has expanded so much since then. And I really appreciate her coming on and helping me be my co-host and my producer of these events. So the WOW Women of Wealth Summits really started out of a need for us to get more women and men educated on the opportunity that we have at Appreciation Financial. I have a team of about 100 agents or so, and the majority of them are women. And, a lot of times people don't think about choosing financial services if they're women because they've heard that it's a male-dominated industry, or maybe they think of their financial person or their insurance agent of somebody who, is an older male, and they don't think that it would be a hip, great career for women. But with Appreciation Financial and the market that we serve, it's absolutely the best thing out there, in my opinion, for women who are looking to get into this market, because we do serve educators, and educators are mostly women. So yeah.
Funny that you say that, because when I think of financial services, until I met you and your team, I was like, that's like a boring career. It's stuffy, it's boring. Like, who wants to be in that? But you guys have really opened up my eyes that it can be fun, and it is for women. Because 10 years ago it was really only for men. Like in my mind, and probably the perspective of most people, it was a male dominated industry. But I'm so glad that you've been able to turn that around and bring more women into financial services, and to really help them understand, right, how to create their own wealth.
Yeah, absolutely. One day I wish to be standing from a podium and not have that conversation that it's a male-dominated industry. I'm like putting my flag in the ground on the top of the mountain saying it is not a male-dominated industry. The wealth in America over the next few years is going to be transferring to women. Women love working with women because we connect. We have those relationships. We're the connectors. And 80% of women make the household decisions on what to buy, and why not make the decisions on how to save and where to save?
I love it. I love it. And you know what? I'm going to be right there with you when you do that. I'll be in the audience screaming, wherever it is, I am there, because I do want to see this become a women dominated industry. That is amazing. I know I'm going to be there and see that happen. So we have a fabulous lineup, you guys, and the women that are coming on. I don't work for Appreciation Financial. Okay. Full disclosure. I'm just Holly's co-host and producer here. I love these stories. This is our 4th summit.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And I learn something new each time, and each story is unique and different. And I'm sure if you take a little time, we're here till 3:00. Stay with us. You'll be able to connect with one of these ladies. Their story is going to inspire you to take action, or maybe to share this broadcast with your network so someone else can be inspired and be encouraged to take action. So I think that we want to bring on our first guest, right, Holly?
Absolutely. So coming up first is one of the gals who is on my team. Not all the ladies in this summit are actually on my team. They're all with Appreciation Financial, and we even have a guest who works in our home office that you'll hear from a little bit later on. But the one thing I will say about all the guests on this show is that they are all women, and they are successful in this company and in this industry. So the first one that we have up is Donna Pippins. I've known Donna now for about 5 or 6 years. It was so cool because the first year that she came in, or when she came into the business, we were just having our very first Women of Wealth retreat. And she was one of the participants at that. So welcome, Donna. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Tell us about your journey, how you got here, and why Appreciation Financial.
Okay, thanks. Well, it's quite a journey, let me tell you. I have been working for over 45 years. So for any of you who are like, this is for young people. Nope, not true. So I have quite the varied careers. I mean, I was in corporate America as well as nonprofits. And what I found was that, and looking back now, everything I ever did led me to where I am now. And the common denominator is really my love of helping others. Everything I've ever done, whether it's helping people transform their lives through employment, whether I helped homeless seniors get their dignity back and find places to live and be able to eat. and helping other people, families, get the services they need in affordable housing. So a lot of different things. But again, it all comes back to serving others. However, what I found in that 9 to 5 grind was it didn't meet my needs. I have 3 kids and 5 grandkids. I have the Ninja Turtle Band-Aid on to prove it. You're only a Nana if you have those kinds of Band-Aids in your house. But really, I didn't like office politics at all. And I was seeing more and more of that. Executives, I was on senior leadership teams. And so my colleagues really were more interested in their motives than the company mission. And I found that frustrating and disheartening. And at some point, many times, I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I quit jobs on more than one occasion and went into business for myself. So I'd go in with these huge dreams, only to see them crash and burn in a relatively short period of time. And then I'd be back in a job, feeling like a complete failure and starting all over again. So at some point, it just had to change. I realized later that I really didn't suck that much at business. It was just that I was looking at companies that didn't set me up to succeed at all. So one day I was sitting at my desk a few years ago, and I'm just like, you know what? I hate this. And I really sat and thought about it. And I'm like, you know what? If I want things to be different, I got to change. And I've got to do something different. I was approaching 60. And there weren't that many options for me to make the kind of money I was making unless I took another senior leadership role. And I wanted way more flexibility than that. So there I was helping others, helping my teams define and achieve their goals. And I had no idea what I was going to do. So that's what I've got going on.
Yeah. And so, you came into Appreciation Financial when we were still pretty young. I mean, we're still pretty young, right? Appreciation Financial is, I feel like we're just really getting into that stage where it's getting exciting, even more exciting. We have so much growth potential. But what really motivates you at this stage for you to really keep working hard and pressing towards your dreams and goals?
Couple things. First of all, I love working. And again, working is a weird word. Some people are probably thinking, hey, work. However, what I do doesn't feel like work at all. So it's energizing for me to help others. But the other thing is, again, I told you I worked with low-income seniors. So I am that I'm not low-income senior. However, I'm a senior. I'm 62 years old. And so as I look and I'm like, what am I going to do for the rest of my career? I had to have something that I enjoyed, that I wasn't going to get tired of, and that could help me support myself, because it's really important for me to not have my kids take care of me. I don't want to depend on them because I want them to have the lives that they've dreamed of. And the other thing is, I knew that, I need something that I can make what I want to make. In all my jobs, I was raising 3 kids and, we were always in debt and all that stuff. So I don't have a lot of retirement savings. So it's not like I have a pension or I can, really rely on anything. So it sounds kind of cliche, but if it's to be, it's up to me. And Appreciation Financial is totally the way I'm going to get there.
Nice. I like that. And speaking of family, I wanted you to share a little bit about the onboarding process. And so, you have someone you're onboarding right now. Maybe you can share with the audience about that experience of working with your daughter.
Yes, absolutely. So recently, and again, due to COVID, my youngest, who's not that young, she's in her mid-30s, her hours were severely cut back. And so she was only working 1 day a week, and that's not going to support anyone. So I had always dreamed of having one of my kids, at least, in the business with me. The other 2 are in careers that they love. And so I said, you know what, maybe this is the time. And so she saw the vision and jumped in. And so it's so rewarding to work with a family member. I've never had that before. And it's really, really exciting. And Holly, you mentioned the family. There are a lot of family units within Appreciation Financial, whether it's brother and sister, husband and wife, mother and kid, whatever. We bring our kids to the table because that's who we are and that's life. We don't try and separate the two. And I love that.
Yeah, I don't think people quite understand about the appreciation family until they get here. So, you know, I mean, I know Donna now has, she's really figured out a way to be successful in this business. She's got an opportunity to experience some of the trips. So why don't you talk a little bit about the perks and how you have really been able to create a business that's going to leave a legacy for you?
Sure. Well, first of all, again, for me, I came in going, I need to support myself. So being able to dictate the income that I earn is huge. And I'm not saying, like, some people might be like, it's not about the money. And no, it's not. However, it is when you have things you want to achieve for yourself and your family. And so for me, uh, being able, again, to support myself is huge. However, Holly mentioned the trip. So I was on our company trip last year, and I didn't think it was going to be that important. Honestly, I'm like, that's nice. However, when just the accomplishment of earning it and then actually going and being with your peers who are in that same group of people who had earned over $100,000 in a year, that was huge. And it's different. It's hard to explain until you experience it. It's different than just getting a paycheck. Like, yeah, I worked these hours and they paid me over 100,000. Okay. When it's you and you did that and your team helped you get there, and you can look back and go, wow, I helped so many people. And that's the only reason I'm here. It's so rewarding. It's way different than I expected.
I think for me, that's one of the things that I love the most about what we do is that, you know, we do help a lot of people. And then the life-changing wealth that is created as a result of that. But like last month, my team helped over 300 people. And I just think that that is so fantastic that we don't, I mean, yes, the money is great and we are able to provide a great living for our family. However, it's more about the people that we help. So what would you say your favorite part of what you do is?
I'm so glad you asked that. For me, it really is sitting down with women like me. I mean, since we work with retirement, there's a lot of clients that we have that are in their late 50s to 60s. And so many of them have no plan and no hope. It's just like, well, okay, I'm going to get my 20% of my pension and somehow I'll make it work. So the most rewarding thing for me is to be able to sit down with them and show them that they have options, that, just because you're 60 doesn't mean life is over. And it's kind of, I'm going to be really honest, it's scary to see how many women don't understand that. They're like, okay, life is over, it's done. And so it's kind of weird, but when I sit down with people that are my age, I'm like, God, you're acting like you're 80. And it's like, there's so much more. And don't count on, no offense to married couples, but don't count on your husband. The saddest thing for me is actually a little while ago, I talked to a woman and her husband died and she knew nothing about anything related to their finances. And it was in an accident. So she had no warning. And now she sold her house. She's living with her daughter. She doesn't have hope. And I just don't want that to happen on my watch. So that's why it's so rewarding to me.
Great. Well, I really appreciate everything that you're doing to help all these educators. We talk a lot about our mantras. I was sharing a couple, we help a lot of people. We create life-changing wealth. We get better every day. Which one of those do you most connect with, would you say?
Oh, for sure. We get better every day. And the reason why is if I'm not getting better every day, then how am I going to help many people and create life-changing wealth for them or myself? So I've got to be getting better every day in order to do that.
Yeah, great. That's so awesome. I love what you're doing, Donna. I love that you and your daughter are now like this power couple, in a different way, but it's like a power couple, and she's just jumped right in. It's so cool to see that she's really just jumped right in. And I can just tell that with her work ethic, which I'm sure she learned a lot from you, that she too can be successful.
I told her she still has time to change that. Sometimes, you know how it is. Sometimes you see things in your kids and it's like, oh my God, no, you've got 30 years to change that, please.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation, right?
Exactly.
Actually, two of the things that you just talked about, I was talking to my hairdresser. We've been friends for like 15 years. So I made this special trip down to San Diego because we were like, wanting to catch up. So I'm like, well, let me just make an appointment because I can catch up with you while I'm getting my hair done. And we were talking about, just people who don't prepare for the future, or they won't let go when they need to let go of something. And so it is all about that. But at the same time, and then we were also talking about, no matter how good of a job you do with your kids, there's still going to be something that you mess them up with. So they're going to have to go get some personal growth somewhere, right?
Exactly.
And that's another thing that I love about you, Donna, is you're always looking to grow and, take yourself on. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to bring you back at the end, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the onboarding process.
Perfect.
But thank you, Donna.
Okay,
Well,
I love Donna's energy, and she does not look her age at all.
Not at all.
I really liked her message because, I'm 56, and I have a lot of friends that are in my age group, Holly, that are not prepared. Some of them, we talk about financials, like where we're at, what our 401k is at, or whatever, your TIA account, whatever it is. And my situation, I'm saving, but is it where I want it to be? Not yet. But when I talk to other friends that are my age, they don't have anything. And I'm like, that's really scary. Your life can change in a moment. And, whether you have kids or not, maybe you have a husband or a significant other, you're going to put all that stress on them for not having something set up.
Well, and I think it's good just to know the plan. Like she was talking about somebody who dies instantly. Like I had that happen in my family. My dad passed away unexpectedly, and my mom didn't know the plan. Well, there wasn't a plan, so there was nothing really to know. But there wasn't a plan. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about what I do now, is to make sure there's a plan. But I was even thinking, like the other day I went to go get a safety deposit box, and my husband's name's not on the safety deposit box. It's just in my name. So I actually need to update some stuff to make sure that I have it set up to where if something did happen to me, he would have access to that, So it's just little things like that we as women don't really think about, because it's like just out of sight, out of mind, but there's little things that you can do to prepare yourself in case something tragic does happen. And unfortunately, it happens every day.
Better to be prepared and ready for that, because in that moment, when you're in that fury of something awful were to happen, the last thing that your brain's going to think about is finances and preparation and documents, right? You're just trying to emotionally go through the situation. We
really hope so. You really hope so, right? Because if you have to stress out about, like I was thinking about my mom when she lost my dad, it's like she didn't even have time to mourn, because she had to like jump into, what am I going to do? How am I going to survive? Not anything about like, let me mourn this. But if you have the financial resources set up in place, then you actually have time to take care of yourself and your family.
I love it. So who are we bringing up next, Holly?
We got Mindy coming up.
All right, let's get
Hi, Mindy. You're on mute, sweetheart. All right. I'm so excited for you guys to hear. I'm so excited for you guys to hear about Mindy, because like I know her story a little bit, but I'm going to get to know her better because as a result of this summit today. So Mindy, I know you came from being in the restaurant industry for many years, and I know you have 3 kids. You have 3 kids?
I have 2 daughters.
Okay.
Yep.
2 daughters. Okay. And so she's going to talk a little bit about her journey and what brought her to Appreciation Financial, and how she is figuring it all out, getting ready to very shortly promote to one of our levels of leadership.
I know. I'm so excited. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to be on here. So yeah, my story is a little unique because I worked in restaurants my whole life. I was a director of operations. I was a cook. I was a server, everything you could think of. And my actual last job was a director. I was a director of operations for a restaurant franchise. And my life was great. I was making a lot of money, and I was married. I had 2 kids, and I was like loving life. And then something really bad happened. My dad got stage 4 colon cancer. And I'm going to cry, sorry. And the reason that was such a horrible situation, it was kind of what you were just talking about, how we didn't have a plan. My mom didn't have life insurance on my dad. I didn't have life insurance on myself for my kids. So like my whole life kind of flashed before my eyes. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm this mother who I just got divorced. My dad's dying, and I had no plan whatsoever. So that's actually what brought me to Appreciation, was I started doing research to kind of protect myself and my family. And I started figuring out, okay, I have to get a plan. I have to come up with life insurance for myself, for my kids. And that's what kind of brought me to Appreciation. I don't really know how I found Appreciation, but I'm thankful I did. And I kind of started reading about it, and I thought it was really interesting niche. And I really loved what they stood for and the fact that they were able to educate teachers. So I actually went and got my license because I wanted to take care of my family, but I also wanted to learn about the business because I was really intrigued by what I was learning. So I went ahead and I got my license, and then I came on board and I signed myself up for life insurance. I got my plan in place for my family, but I was still working in restaurants. So I was literally being a director of operations and trying to figure out this business at the same time. And it was hard. It was hard because I was doing 2 full-time jobs, and I really wasn't giving enough attention to appreciation at first. And then I just got really burnt out in the restaurants. I know there's a lot of restaurant people on here probably, because a lot of people said you're going to come on and listen to my story, and you can kind of relate to what I'm saying. Is I was so tired of working 12, 14-hour days, working weekends and coming home smelling like a cheeseburger and phone calls all the time. And I was just kind of like, my dad had just passed away, and I was just like, that's it. I need to change, figure out a plan, and just make it happen. So I quit working in restaurants. I quit my director job, and I came here to work at Appreciation full time. It was a struggle because I didn't even know what an annuity was when I first started. I knew nothing at all. So that's kind of what brought me here.
Well, I'm so glad you shared your story. And the one thing that I love about women and women in business is we can cry and talk at the same time.
Yeah.
And and even if you're crying so hard that you can't talk, that's okay too. And I think that that's one of the things that I love most about my team, and the fact that I've been able to help be a place where women in this business can come if they are having one of those days where they need to talk about it, and sometimes when we need to talk about it, tears are involved, and that's okay. And that's okay on my team, and it's okay on your team, and it's certainly okay on any of these women's teams. Now, I know some men feel uncomfortable about that, and that's okay. That's why we have women in leadership roles too, So, but what I really love is that you were inspired. Although it was a tragic situation, you were inspired to take care of your own family. So share with me a little bit about how, once you got here, what it was like when you left the restaurant industry and you started focusing full time on appreciation.
It was like night and day, really, when I was focusing. Because when I first started and I was working in the restaurants, I still wasn't fully engaged. I was kind of going to luncheons, kind of doing appointments, not really paying attention. But once I came on full time, it was incredible. There's so many resources, so many people helping. There's so much online training. There's Zoom classes. I mean, I was shocked at the amount of people that wanted to help me get better. You can go on appointments with people. You can literally work wherever you want to work. And there's someone in any corner in any state saying, come on an appointment with me. So it's really been fantastic.
So when you think about the appreciation family, what is that? I mean, you're just talking about it a little bit. Like, people don't really understand what that means, but it really is like a family here, right?
It absolutely is. I've never worked in like a virtual world before, so I was kind of like not really weirded out by, but I didn't know what to expect, right? But I have met so many fantastic people just across the country, and to be able to do what we do virtually and be able to get on LinkedIn or get on Zoom or do it with all these people, it's just been incredible. And they're so warm and fantastic people. I'm so happy to be here.
Great. So, I asked Donna, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Our mantras, they're something that are very important to us. We talk about them a lot. We help a lot of people. We create life-changing wealth. We get better every day. Which one of those would you say you have embraced the most?
Probably getting better every day. I kind of agree with Donna on that, just because when I first started, I really didn't know what I was doing. So I've really learned a lot, and I've been able to educate a lot of other people as well. I've really brought me in this business was to just educate people on life insurance, just make sure people are prepared. And in order for me to do that, I had to kind of learn it all on my own and figure it out. So definitely that one.
And so you mentioned teaching other people. That's part of our culture as well, right? We teach other people how to be successful in this business. What do you think the number one, like if you could just get a megaphone and shout out like why people should take a closer look at this opportunity, what would you say?
because you can do whatever you want with the opportunity. Like right now, I'm in leadership classes, and I'm going to become an AVP soon, which means I'm going to be able to educate other people. And you can make as much money as you want to make. So you can get out of it whatever you put into it. I think that's what's very appealing to me, because when you work in restaurants, you kind of get the salary. No matter how hard you work, no matter what you do, you make the same amount. Where here, you kind of get rewarded for the amount of effort that you put in.
And are you putting in those 12 to 14-hour days still?
Sometimes. I mean, it evens out. There are some days that are longer than others. Mondays is like a meeting day, so that one seems to be a bit longer. But I will say that if I do 12 or 14-hour days, I'm able to take weekends off, which restaurant people know you cannot take weekends off. So the fact you're not able to, you can actually enjoy yourself is pretty awesome.
Well, I think that happens to be like a lot of people in our industry too that aren't with our appreciation financial opportunity. I mean, of course you can take appointments on the weekends, but you don't have to make a great living. And you don't have to work nights either, which is really beneficial for those of us that are moms, right? Because it is something that, you know, we want to spend time with our kids. In fact, I was just talking about this earlier, like if I want to go to a soccer game or a football practice or work in the classroom, when they're in the classroom, I could certainly do that because I have the time to do that.
Yeah.
So now that you've been here for a while, you've seen some success. What's next after you get to AVP? What's your goal? What are some of your goals?
Well, I'm going to Ibiza, so I won the trip. So I will be, yes, and I'm getting 100K earner ring. So I've made 100K this year. And I'm really proud of that because like I said, 2 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing or how to do anything. So I am living proof that if you just apply yourself and really work hard, you can absolutely get to where you want to be. So I am like super excited for where the future holds.
Awesome. Well, Mindy, it's been such a pleasure to have you on. Make sure you stick around because we're going to have you back on at the end and we're going to talk a little bit more about, you know, the AF family and some other things. But thank you again for being part of the show. And I just love your spirit. You have such a great spirit.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Wow.
So Mary,
I didn't
another
know
fabulous
her story.
woman.
Oh my gosh, her story is amazing. And to think that from a tragedy, she triumphed, right? And she, in 2 years, is now this 100K earner. I'm like, that's amazing. She knew nothing about the business. And I think that's what I want to make sure that you women share is that you don't have to have a financial background. You don't have to be good with numbers. They have programs for all that, right? Because I'm like, I'm awful with numbers. Like I could not do this if I had to sit there and calculate everything. But her story that she didn't know anything about the financial industry. Her family was not set up. And her first client was herself, right? She wanted to educate herself. So it was through that education, Holly, that she discovered this opportunity.
Absolutely.
And if it's something you believe in, you're not selling it, you're sharing it, right?
Right. Exactly. I actually have a couple of agents on my team that are a result of they were my clients first. So maybe you are next, Mary.
Maybe we keep talking about that every step. And I'm like, wow, listen to that story. Listen to that. Yeah. I keep telling my husband, you know, it's going to happen one day. Like I'm going to go out and share the story and you're going to do the paperwork or something. Cause you know,
hey, it works. It works.
Yeah,
it totally
teamwork.
works.
Yeah. Who knows? One day I might be on the other side, not producing, but sharing my story. So who do we have up next? Is it Logan?
Yes, we have Logan coming on, which I'm really excited because sometimes you don't get to see the women behind the scenes that makes everything work. And Logan is our legal counsel. And
we're having a legal counsel come on the show. How exciting. Exactly. Oh my gosh, right? That's totally behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, it's a phone call that we don't like to get unless it's, of course, on Friday night and we're just chit-chatting as girlfriends. But, you know, but I will say this before I bring Logan on. My son absolutely loves Logan. They've had an opportunity to travel. Well, my son's had an opportunity to travel with me on some of the trips that we earn. And Logan is with us on our trips usually. And so they just connected and bonded. And I think it's because their blue eyes just brought each other together. Aww. So wait till you see her striking blue eyes when you bring her up next.
Well, let's bring Logan onto the show.
Hey, Logan, you're on mute.
Hi.
We know I had to mention Jackson and you.
I know, I do. I just love him. And I'm sure the blue eyes are part of it. But the other part is that he is just stinking adorable. So that's another part.
Wow. Thank you so much. Well, tell us a little bit about how, I mean, I know how you got here. I remember the days when you were coming into the San Diego office, but share with everybody who's watching a little bit about how you got to Appreciation Financial, and more importantly, like why you stay, because you are a rock star of an attorney and legal counsel. And so just share with everybody a little bit about your journey, and then, what keeps you here, not just Don Spini, of course.
Yeah. So thank you so much for having me on. I love what you do to support women and to really bring a lot of awareness to the fact that, I'm with you. I'm hoping that in the next couple of years, we don't have to keep saying that this is a male dominated industry. So I think we're really on our way. And I think our company does a really great job to make a dent in that. I'm from the East Coast originally, and after school in upstate New York, I was freezing in Syracuse, and I decided to move out to California. And I came from a family of lawyers, and I thought that being a lawyer was the path of least resistance. So I thought, you know what, I don't want to do that. I thought, oh, well, I'm argumentative. I don't know. So I worked in the legal field, doing admin and law clerking. So nobody can say I've done all of the little things at the bottom of the totem pole. I've done them all. And then, I went to law school and I started out in criminal defense. And so I did that for a while. And while I really think I have a lot of passion for that, I realized that was not necessarily the direction I wanted to continue going. And I went into litigation. Litigation, for those who don't know, is really in the court. So you're arguing. It's a lot of motion writing. It's long hours, which I knew I signed up for as an attorney. And right before I came to Appreciation, I was doing copyright infringement for high-profile musicians, and it was like 14 hours a day. It was brutal, and it was super cool because we had a lot of high-profile cases that were in the news and a lot of really cool clients. But it led me to realize that I knew my skills that made me feel most successful were not being utilized. And I felt that, what am I arguing for, really? I'm arguing for someone else. I'm working at this 14 hours a day. I feel, burnt out, kind of like what Mindy was saying. I felt burnt out. A lot of people in the legal industry sort of reached that point. And so I started thinking, okay, how can I marry my love of law and my love of, fighting and arguing, but for a purpose and justice, with working with business people and not necessarily sitting at a desk for 20 hours a day writing. And so I realized in-house counsel was the way to do that. And I was told every which way that it would be impossible for me to get there. I started out in litigation. I had to stay there. And I said, I'm going to get there. And lo and behold, I did. And it was through a person in San Diego who I was renting from at the time, who is, our major liaison at National Life. And that's how I got here. And I've been here next week, 5 years.
I love that.
And why do I stay here? Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
So why do I stay here? I have watched this company grow so much over the past 5 years, and I myself have grown so much over the past 5 years, but I know you're going to ask me something about our mantras later, so I'll leave that for after. But why I stay is because I love this company, and I am not in financial services. I am not at, a life insurance or annuity salesperson, but I've learned a lot about it and I love it. And I too, my father passed away when I was 18. My family had a plan in place. So I'm on the other side of it. My parents had life insurance, and thankfully they were in a financial position where the life insurance was a cushion. And so that's a success story to show that my parents did have a plan in place. And so I stay because I really support what we're doing and I see how many people we help. And I absolutely love how passionate our people are about what they do, like you.
Well, yeah, you bring up a really great point too, because you've got to really grow with this family also, right? I mean, it is a family, it's like we go places together, we travel together. I mean, Jackson absolutely loves you and he always asks me about you and stuff like that. But what is that, how can you communicate that family to the audience? What do you think is the best way to communicate that?
So I think it's really important for people to feel comfortable where they're working, right? So when you think of work, a lot of times, you hear people say, well, I love what I do so much that it doesn't feel like a job. That's incredible. And for most people, that might not be a possibility. What I love about appreciation and why I think the family atmosphere is there is that there's a lot of freedom for people to be who they are. There's really not a lot of judgment. We have people from all walks of life, all shapes, all sizes, all colors, all religions, and everybody's welcome and everybody's celebrated. And I think it's a place where, for me, it's always been a little bit more difficult to be vulnerable. I think a lot of that comes from being a woman, being a strong woman in a position of power and not wanting to seem like there's any, cracks in the facade. Because, when you work in a male dominated industry, whether it's law or financial services, we always have this, dichotomy where we want to be strong. And yet somehow that's been misconstrued over the years as meaning you can't have emotions. And so what I love about this family and why it truly is a family is we travel all over the world together. We fight, we laugh, we cry, we celebrate, we come back together. And I think that is very evident in how tight our leadership team is and how much we truly enjoy each other. And it's not a fake thing, because I would just absolutely sidestep your question and say something else if I felt, I'll tell it like it is. It really is a family. And if you have an issue, there is always someone there who can help you. And I absolutely, that's 100% the truth.
Well, I just want to thank you, because anytime I've had to, stand up or, get vulnerable with some of our leadership team, you really have been a source of support for me. And I really do appreciate that. I'm not going to cry, of course, but that I have in your office many times. But I do really appreciate the fact that we do have strong women, not only in the field and leadership, but also in the office. You, Angie, Tana, and how close you guys are is really a testament to how close we are at our leadership team. So, I really appreciate that. And you kind of get to see, you get to see it all, actually. And you love us anyway. I always say that. So
I do.
I
see how the sausage is made, and I still come back.
I am going to ask you about our mantras, though, because both you and I, we were not quick to sign them. We really had to sit there and let it sink in a little bit. Are we going to get on board with these mantras? And I think that once we surrendered to that and really started feeling it, it feels so natural now, right? So which one of our mantras do you most connect with?
Well, I think they're all important. I think for me, mostly, I'm just not like really a rah. There's nothing wrong with it. But for me to be my most authentic self, that's not really who I am. I love it. I think for a lot of people, it's super important, and I totally support it. The getting better every day is just, it's everything. I agree with what Donna said. If we're not getting better every day, we can't succeed in our jobs. We can't succeed in our personal lives. And I absolutely think that's something that I have taken into account in my daily life. And I really think about it. I want to make sure, am I better than I was yesterday? Am I being the very best me I can be right now? And when I'm not, of course, I'm hugely disappointed in myself and my biggest critic. But I think that's something in the back of my mind that I always use as like sort of a center point to come back to homeostasis is, all right, have I gotten better today? And if I haven't, then you know what? I'm going to try my darndest to do so tomorrow.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I can't wait to see you. Are you going to be you will be in Vegas next week, right?
I'm actually in LA right now, and it's very hot, but I will be in Vegas next week towards the end of the week. So yes.
Okay, well, hopefully you'll be there by the time I'm still there, because I leave on Wednesday, but I'm coming in on Monday to meet with Terry, and then hopefully we'll get to see each other. Okay, I absolutely would love that. I will. I'll text you. No, okay, so hang out, though, because we're going to bring you back on with the rest of the crew.
Wow. What a great testimony, right? Because she doesn't have to stay there, but she's choosing to. And I think that really speaks to the culture of Appreciation Financial. And I keep hearing about it every month when we do these summits, and it's not all roses and rainbows, right? No, there's no company, organization, position, or industry that's all roses and rainbows. But if you have a really dynamic culture, I think that's one of the most important things.
Yes, and we're going to bring Amber on in a minute, but Amber is also going to speak to this because she is a shining star in a group of very dominant men in our industry and in our company, and she has just really put a flair on it. But just getting back to Logan, I will say that, you know, like I said, I have been in her office and she's had to be that, like, get in the dirt with me and let's figure this out, you know, kind of, you know, not only colleague, but also friend. And I think that's one of the things that is important, what she said. You know, last month we had all of our power couples, or some of our power couples, on, and Brett and Mercedes were on. And Brett is like my brother. I'll say younger brother, because he's younger than me, of course. So we'll just give him that. But there has been times, you know, he is like my brother. We fight like we're brother and sister, but you know what? We have a rule to where we get things resolved within 24 hours. We do our best to get it resolved. And that is one of the things that I think is really important in a company, is that when there is conflict is healthy. You know,
right.
I don't know if
it can bring new ideas, new solutions, as long as you resolve and always have respect, right? Always have respect. But yeah, I think conflict and questioning people, there's nothing wrong with that. It's how you take that in as an individual. Do you take it as, do you become defensive, or you're like, oh, wow, Holly, I never thought about it that way. I don't really agree with it, but let me take a moment and think about it. So it's really about, you know, being able to accept that.
And that getting better every day, sometimes you have to have a breakdown to have a breakthrough.
Right? Or 2 or 3. Yes. You know, every 6 months you should have a breakdown so you can break through, right?
Well, you know, I don't want to bring Amber on in this note of breakdown, but I will mention that one of the funny stories that's happened over COVID that I've heard is that Amber has 2 young kids, and she was on a training call, and her kids made it into the video because, you know, she was doing her training and she's like trying to hold them off. So we'll talk a little bit about that too, about how fun it is working with COVID.
And that's just the reality, right? That's just what's going on. And I actually like it because I think it allows us to be us. It allows us to show us, this is who I am. This is my home office, whether you have kids or animals or, you know, Amazon's being delivered, because hello, it's Amazon Prime Day. I'm sure my buzzer's going to buzz any minute. But it's just like, this is who we are. We're people. At the end of the day, we're all people. Like I say on LinkedIn, there's a person behind the profile, get to know them. And I think that you guys are really good about getting to know each other. So let's bring Amber on then.
Absolutely. Amber, welcome to the show. I'm so happy that you're here. You have to tell us a little bit more about that training video. But someone's like, Amber's kids are in that video. I'm like, that is awesome. That's truly a COVID result right there. Like, leave it in there because that's real life.
Oh my goodness, girl, it happens all the time. And thankfully my team or my clients are like, it's okay. They're so cute. I have to tell you a story there really quick. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. So we're trying to potty train our youngest right now. Oh my God.
Talk about it. Go ahead.
I was on a training call and I have his little potty on one side of the office. He's on the other side of the office playing with his toys. And I look over and he's literally in full squat pooping on my floor.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, I'm really sorry. I have to just give me a second. I've got to clean up this poop that's on my floor.
Yeah. Well, that'll be one of the stories that you get to share with him when he's older.
Oh, yes.
It'll be one of those moments. Yes. Definitely. Like, remember that time back in 2020 when we were on lockdown? Yeah, this happened. All right. Well, share with us, Amber, how you got to Appreciation Financial, because I mean, I'm so happy that you're here. And I know all these women that are on the call are, because you're just a trailblazer. So share with us how you got to Appreciation and what that experience has been like.
Yeah, thank you. So I've worked, so my background's accounting and finance. That's what I've done. That's what my degree is in. And I worked for a bank, and then I worked for an accounting firm for a little bit. And I just realized that's just not what I wanted for my life, right? That's not the 9 to 5 or really 9 to 7 was not what I wanted if I eventually one day wanted to have a family. So I started doing my own thing with normal life insurance, doing like final expense, mortgage protection, and, through partnership, built a pretty decent team. And the problem with that was the chargebacks were really high. And I know if there's people in here that are watching that are in that industry, they're probably agreeing with me right now. chargebacks are high. It gets people out of the industry very quickly. And then, door knocking. Nobody likes to do that. And it wasn't a sustainable thing I could see myself doing for the long run. Along with, having my background and my degrees, I was like, what am I doing? Like, I don't feel like I'm really helping anybody. I feel like I'm just trying to sell them something, and that's not what I really want to do. So, I started looking around. I was like, I need to do something else to help my team. It was really about, can my team do this? How can their families be taken care of for their life, right? Not just me. And I had to look around. So one of my agents or my partners really, that is very loyal to me, was like, hey, this gentleman reached out to me. He's trying to get me into this thing. You should look at it and see what it is. So, thankfully she reached out, and then we went up to Pittsburgh to see appreciation for ourselves and see what this was all about. And I was very pleasantly surprised. And I was like, this is really what I went to school for. This is the finance industry that I went to school for, but it's giving me the ability to run my own business, to meet with people that really, really need our help. These are our public service employees. They need our help the most. And they should retire and be comfortable one day and not have to do the retire to rehire programs. So, it was amazing. And I brought some of my top leaders with me that were in the final expense industry. And I said, look, we're going together or we're not going at all. Like, I want your opinion when we see this. And we all came together, and that was really special. And then the team has grown, significantly from that. And I've been here for 3 years now. So it's been an awesome run. I think this is the longest I've been at a insurance producing company. So I know this is home, because I have not had one thought in the back of my mind to ever want to leave.
That's so awesome.
Family.
I just love that. And I love how I'm just going to read a couple of these comments that we have real life happening right now. Okay. This is how Amber does business, like 24/7 now that we have COVID, right? It's like her kids are involved in it. All right. Let's just get real, moms. This is our real life. And she is able to not only be successful with this, she does not miss a beat. Your focus is straight on. It totally takes me back to this time where when Bobby and I got married, my best friend was giving a speech. Well, her 3-year-old was our ring bearer, and he was running circles on the dance floor while she was giving her speech, and she did not miss a beat. She just went. It's awesome. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about, because you've had an incredible last 5 weeks, right? We're getting ready to celebrate you pretty big on Monday for some big accomplishments. And you have banging going on. You got kids screaming. I got it too at my house too.
Can you hear that?
Oh, no, it's fine. It's
Hear it?
real life. Oh yeah, we can hear it. It's all good. Oh my gosh. But okay, but tell people, how have you been able to block that out and do this? Seriously.
I have horse blinders. Okay. And duct tape works really well. The only problem is they can eat through it. So oh, goodness gracious. Honestly, they know what I'm doing on the computer, but they're 4 and 2, and they, in their world, what they want right now is number 1. It's more important. So to try to ignore a little bit, and when he breaks my door, my husband can deal with that. So I just love being here. I love what we do virtually to help everybody. And that's enough. Okay, we're good now.
There you go. See, we're good.
All right. So I love it. I love everybody that we work with. And honestly, we could not make the amount of money here without helping the amount of people that we help.
Yeah.
Right?
Would you say that is your favorite mantra?
Oh yeah. We help a lot of people. That is by far the only way that they're going to be successful. And then in the end, we would be successful. Yeah. Our success is only based off of who we help.
Yes. Yes.
So, it's big.
Also, so just because she didn't brag on herself, I'm going to brag on her. So one of the awards that we have within Appreciation Financial is if you earn $50,000 in a month, that you earn a watch. And it's not just a watch, it's a Breitling watch, and it's very beautiful. The woman's one is very beautiful because Lisa Ryerson was the first woman to win it. And she picked out one that has diamonds around the face and everything. So it's very beautiful. And Amber is going to be getting her watch. She just qualified for that. Not only is she a 100K trip earner and some of the other things that she's been able to do, but she's not going to brag. Us women, we don't like to necessarily brag on ourselves, but I'm going to brag on you. Because in all that banging, in all that pooping on the floor, in all that mom, she just made 50 grand in a month, more than that. But I mean, that's incredible. So, share with me a little bit more about the family culture that you have, because like I said, when I was bringing you on, you do have a lot of very strong men that you're working with, right? And so how have you been able to really take that and, there's two different questions I want to ask here, but let's go with that one first. How have you really been able to jump in and be that feminine force on that team?
So I always had this mindset that I needed to be so strong, right? Being in a company or an industry that's full of male dominance and also building a team. I just felt like if I wasn't strong and didn't, just kind of be like a hard ass, that people wouldn't respect me because I'm a woman and this isn't, our industry or wasn't our industry. And I actually lost 2 teams over that. And I realized through just personal growth and being here, this is the company that has taught me the way to build, the way to be a leader. And that's so important because I was missing that vulnerability factor because I was just trying to fit in so much with the men in this company, in this industry. And it wasn't helping me at all. So when I realized I needed to just be me, right? They can see me get emotional. They can see me get upset, and they can see, Dan always likes to say, the iron fist and the velvet glove, because that's not how it was before. It was more just iron fist and take me as I am. If you like me, great. If you don't, oh well. And that's so not right, right? That's not the way to be. And when I changed that and just was myself and stopped thinking I had to be someone I'm not, the doors opened up, right? My team started to flourish. I honestly had new people coming into the team because it was really, if you can't change your people, change your people. So I actually had a whole new team that was started. And it's really nice to finally be in a team that respects me, right? And trusts me. And then I try my best to lead from the front and show them, you can do this. If I can, you can. That's really the only reason why I bust my butt, is honestly for my family. But secondly, so other people know they can do it. This isn't like a far-fetched thing. You can earn 50K in a month if you put your mind to it. So they saw me put my mind to it, and they also helped me get there. I didn't get there on my own, right? My whole team helped me get there. So it was amazing. And I honestly I would never want to go back to the way that I was before. This is amazing. We have to get better every day.
Yeah.
So.
I love that. And I know there's so many silver linings in the fact that we've had this virtual pivot to where we've been able to be just as successful in the virtual environment as we were before, because I know when you first came into Appreciation, there wasn't any payroll slots near you. So you had to drive like an hour or two just to get to some schools, right? So how has this shift really benefited your business?
Yeah, well, first off, I don't have to drive anywhere. So that's amazing. I can be in 7 or 8 schools all in one day. But I think that what was about 4 hours round trip of driving, that's not 4 hours I can put into my business instead of sitting in a car in traffic. I always did what I had to do, right? And that's why that way my team could see, if I'm doing this, you can do this, right? So I did it and made those trips. Luckily, I only work 3 days a week, so I was only going down there 3 days a week. But still, this virtual world has changed everything about what we do. And my teachers that I meet with love seeing us virtually. Like, we don't have to be in person. They get the same level of value, if not more now, because we can be more focused through this virtual world. But just having more time, that's 4 extra hours of helping people that I couldn't help before.
Yeah. So let me get this straight. You only work are you still only working 3 hours a day, even virtually?
3 days.
I mean, 3 days. I'm sorry, 3 days a week. 3 days a week virtually.
Yeah, 3 days a week, still virtually. I have about 15 to 17 appointments in those 3 days. So I put a full-time schedule in 3 days. And then the other 2 days are building and leadership calls. So that's, and my kids, got to be with my kids. So
yeah, absolutely. So again, she's working in the field 3 days a week, and she has a check coming of, or she's been paid over 50,000 in the last 5 weeks. So that's incredible, Amber. Thank you so much. We're going to bring on the rest of the ladies, and I'm going to ask you guys to really share like what's next, what's your why behind Appreciation Financial. And really just, I know that family always comes up, but for me, my why now, I said it at the beginning, and it wasn't my why when I first started, but my why now is to plant that flag, like Logan and I have talked about many times, where this is not a male dominated industry, or at least not a male dominated company. Every Monday, I take my stats down and I send my text messages out going, we are only at 30% or 40% on the leaderboard or whatever the case might be. But I am here to say that I know that while I'm here, which is at least 15 more years, you're going to have to deal with me till I'm old enough to retire, I guess. I really want us to have at least equal, if not more women. You know what I mean? Because we do service women. So why not have more women in our company? So, I'll just start with Donna again. What would you say your why is now, and has it changed since you first started?
Absolutely, it's changed. And I would say right now, my why is to introduce this business to so many more women like me who don't think they have options anymore and are not ready to retire or can't retire, whatever reason, to really show them, hey, you can do this. Like Amber said, if I can do it, you can do it too.
That's great. Mindy, what would you say?
I say the same thing. I think that I didn't realize, if I knew this opportunity was there 15, 20 years ago when I was working in restaurants, I would have made the change a long time ago. And I talk about it all the time. I mean, I talk about it constantly. So I agree with Donna, just to spread the word about how fantastic it is really important.
Great. Logan, what do you think about appreciation, and what's your why now? What's your why? Why AF?
Well, my why has changed, certainly. I think my goal is to continue to support our team and to help grow appreciation. I have some exciting things coming up in the next few months that have to do with appreciation and some of our other companies that we're involved with. And so that will be fun to share at some point. But yeah, just continuing to support all you lovely ladies, and to my why has really become learning to better myself, and what I was saying, what Amber touched on too, is finding that perfect example or perfect balance between femininity and strength. And I think for me, being able to embody that and really work on that that's really my why, in addition to growing AF.
And Amber, what would you say?
So my mom had a business growing up. She did all network marketing, and I saw her. She was home all the time, made very good money, but she was able to do everything with us, right? That was big. That was important to me. I was like, how is she making money, but she's home with me, right? So growing up, I always thought, I want to be like that. Like, that's what I want for my family. I want to be home with my kids. And my why was just making sure that I could be home, watch my kids grow up, be on field trips with them, and not have to worry about, somebody telling me I can't, right? Or you have to take vacation for that. My why was just making sure I can be there and watch them grow. And it obviously has gotten bigger over the years. I never thought I could make the kind of money I'm making now. I just never thought it would happen. Just because of where I've come from in the insurance world, that just wasn't a thing to make this kind of money. And I just now see that I want to make sure other people can get where they want to be. Like, I know other moms want to be home, right? They want more time. And so my why is not just mine anymore. My why is wanting others to have that same success. My best friend just got contracted here and is in the business, and I want it so badly for her. Like, I want her to have that ability and the opportunity to be home and watch her new baby grow. So it's, my why is mine and so big that I want other people to have that same, that same opportunity.
That's great. Well, thank you, ladies. Whoops. Thank you so much for being a part of our summit. I know a couple questions that Mary had. Maybe we can just popcorn this out. Mary, I know you had a question about, like, what's the point of entry? What does it look like? So I wanted to share that with Appreciation Financial, you're in business for yourself. You're not in business by yourself. And so you have a team of people, you have a trainer, you have somebody who's going to be there to help hold your hand to show you how our system works. And it's really pretty low cost to get started. So, we do have some registration fees. You have to have your license. You have to have E&O insurance. But, whatever a typical business starts to cost, I don't even know anymore because it's been so long since I've looked into anything like that. But for about $1,000, you could get started in a really good way with Appreciation Financial. But I would say, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, any of you ladies, that you do have to make sure that you set yourself up right, because we do have a sales cycle. Just like all companies have a sales cycle that sells products. And since we do work in the education market, there are some months that the teachers don't get paid. So the months that they don't get paid, we don't have money going into their products and whatnot. So you do have to set yourself up right and make sure that you're in a position to where you have that time to build a business. It doesn't happen overnight. And especially if you're not like Amber that already has a finance degree and you're already been in the industry, there's going to be a learning curve. What would you say, Mindy, is the learning curve, since you're the newest one that came in that wasn't in the business?
The learning curve for me was just probably balancing my time. Kind of what Amber said, I'm a mom, so I struggled with that at the beginning. When really trying to figure out how many appointments to really run and how much time to really take on the education piece of it, and then have time for my kids. At the beginning, I kind of failed. I did too much in classroom stuff, but not enough teachers and, my kids. So just figuring out that piece, finding a good balance with my schedule was probably the biggest learning curve, I would think.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because if you are confident, if you are, if you've been successful in human resources or in sales or anything like that, this is a great place for you to be able to use those skills that you already have. But there is, there is some time that it takes to learn our system, and there is some time that it takes to really get proficient. But we do have people that are coming in and they're making a livable wage after 2, 3, 4, 6 months, it really depends on you. Would you ladies agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Holly, I have a question. So, and I think someone did this here, but can someone start this as their side hustle? Can they start studying, get their license? Maybe they're not quite ready to take that big leap. So could they start that? Maybe there's a mom at home that's like, I'm not quite sure I can do this full time, but so what is that okay in your guys' business to kind of start
absolutely. Mindy talked about how she started doing it part-time. The one thing that we always say, though, is part-time efforts create part-time results. Right. So, you can't come in part-time and expect to make $50,000 in a month. Right.
Of course. So let's be real. It's not all rainbow and roses here. And sprinkles.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's definitely hard work. Amber talked about driving 4 hours. I did the same thing when I was building Orange County. There's things that you have to put into your business when you're developing a business. I think the biggest thing that people don't do when they come into appreciation is look at it like a job instead of they look at it like building a business. Correct. And so I know, Donna, we've talked about this before, and it's just it's building a business. It's not 9 to 5, It might be 7 to 2. You know what I mean? It might be whatever it takes to get things done. It might be 12 to 14 hour days when you first get started. But what it does give you is it gives you the liberty later on, once you've built that business and you have a good structure in place to be able to do some of those things that you want to do with your family, like work in the classroom.
That's just like anything in life. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And being an entrepreneur, business owner, right? You put in a lot of time and effort and money at the beginning because you're building and you're learning and you're growing and you're making mistakes. Like that's just part of being human and being in a business. But I think that with Appreciation Financial, what makes it different from being an entrepreneur where everything is on your shoulders yourself, right? Like if I make a mistake, I'm the only one that can fix it and talk myself through it, right? You guys actually have like support. You have a team. So I think that is one of the big differences where I also see as an outsider here, right, is that you still have that flexibility of being a business owner where you can set your own hours. So Amber, it's 3 days a week. That's what she's going to work. And she works really hard those 3 days a week. You know, or maybe someone wants mornings off because their child is distance learning. So they're going to like, right? Because that's reality right now. I have a few friends that like, I can meet at 1 o'clock. I can't meet with you, Mary, before 1. So maybe, you know, it's right because you can work 1 to 6, 1 to 7, something like that. So I think there's a lot of flexibility, just like you have when you own your own business.
Absolutely. Well, ladies, I want to thank you again so much for being a part of the October Women of Wealth Summit.
I'm going to put up the slide that has everyone's contact information.
Yes,
so if you guys are watching, so let me put that up real quick, which means I'm going to have to remove
out, you guys. I have no glasses on. What is up with that?
I know.
You're too young for glasses.
Okay, let's bring this slide up.
Well, again, thank you to the incredible ladies that were on this month. Mary, another fabulous show.
Well, that was a lot of fun. You guys join us in November. We'll have, I don't know what we're going to call it. If you have a name for it, drop it in the comments and let us know. And if there's someone that you'd like to see or a different angle you'd like us to take, please let us know. And we'd be happy to put that into the theme. So until next time, you guys, y'all have a great day. Ciao.
Bye.